Martell Holt's world has been turned upside down, and it all centers around one explosive secret burning inside him. Melody's hidden connection to Hill Harper, something no one saw coming, has shattered trust and shaken the very foundation of his closest relationships. But this is just the beginning. What's really going on is far more than a simple misunderstanding. Today, we're uncovering the truth behind Martell's rage, and trust me, you will want to watch every single moment of this story. Martell Holt is furious, and the reason has sent shockwaves through his circle. Melody's surprising link to Hill Harper has everyone talking, and what Martell just discovered has left him boiling with anger. The truth behind this connection is more explosive than anyone imagined. Martell Holt, a man known for his straightforward nature and fierce loyalty, now finds himself at the center of a storm unlike anything he expected. What began as whispers and vague hints has exploded into a full-blown drama, all centered around Melody, a woman whose surprising connection to Hill Harper has shaken Martell to his core. This is far more than simple gossip or idle chatter. It is a tangled story of emotions, secrets, and misunderstandings that have upended everything he thought he knew. Martell's reputation has always been built on honesty and trust. Whether through his reality TV appearances or the close friendships he's nurtured over the years, he has earned a reputation as someone who values loyalty above all else. But now, that loyalty feels betrayed. The revelation of Melody's ties to Hill Harper has cracked open a wound that runs deeper than just the surface drama. Melody is no stranger to complicated relationships. Known for her charisma and magnetic personality, she has often found herself at the crossroads of personal and social conflicts within Martell's circle. But her link to Hill Harper, a respected actor and author known for his intelligence and thoughtful approach to social issues, was something no one anticipated. The connection was quiet, mostly unseen, and carefully kept out of the public eye. When the news finally broke, the shockwaves rippled through Martell's social circle, stirring feelings of betrayal and confusion. This wasn't a casual acquaintance or a simple friendship. Insiders revealed late-night calls, secret meetings, and emotional exchanges that suggested a much deeper bond than anyone had guessed. For Martell, who has always demanded transparency from those closest to him, this felt like a gut punch, a betrayal of the highest order. What made matters worse was how Martell learned about the connection. It wasn't from Melody herself, but through rumors that floated within their social group. This lack of openness cut deeper than the relationship itself. Martell confronted Melody, seeking clarity and answers, but her responses only left him more frustrated. The vague explanations and evasiveness fueled the fire, sparking tensions that quickly spilled into public view. The drama extended beyond personal hurt. It began to impact group dynamics. Friends and allies took sides, some siding with Martell, emphasizing the need for honesty and trust. Others sympathized with Melody, believing that she had a right to keep parts of her life private. This division created a charged atmosphere, marked by whispered conversations, cold shoulders, and pointed social media posts that kept the conflict alive and growing. Hill Harper's involvement further complicated the situation. Known for his calm and composed demeanor, Hill tried to play the role of peacemaker, attempting to mediate the rising tensions quietly. However, Martell saw these interventions as unwelcome interference, which only added another layer of strain to an already fragile situation. Meanwhile, the media caught wind of the unfolding drama, amplifying rumors and intensifying the pressure on all involved. Headlines hinted at scandal, drawing public attention and making it harder for those at the center to find any peace. For Martell, the public scrutiny only heightened his sense of betrayal and isolation. But there's more beneath the surface, an unexpected twist that changes the entire story. Melody's connection to Hill Harper was only part of a larger secret alliance involving another influential figure within their circle. This wasn't just about friendship or emotional support. It was a carefully calculated relationship built on shared goals, strategic information exchange, and power plays that few outside the inner circle could understand. This revelation hit Martell hard. He, a man who valued loyalty and transparency above all else, found himself entangled in a web of secrecy. The alliance wasn't simply personal, it influenced career moves, personal relationships, and social dynamics. Insiders hinted that Martell was sometimes deliberately excluded or undermined in decisions made by this group, deepening his feelings of betrayal. Martell's discovery came piece by piece through overheard conversations, cryptic messages, and sudden changes in the behavior of those around him. The uncertainty and secrecy only fueled his frustration. not just with Melody, but also with Hill Harper and the other unseen players involved in the alliance. This raised bigger questions about Melody's true intentions. Was she caught in the middle of powerful men pulling her in different directions, or was she actively maneuvering to strengthen her own position? The ambiguity added another layer of complexity to an already tangled drama. Martell's anger intensified. As he grappled with these implications, it was no longer just about friendship or loyalty, but about power, control, and trust. The fallout from this discovery has been devastating. It threatened to unravel the very foundations of relationships and reputation. Private conversations turned into public social media battles, with cryptic posts and subtle digs hinting at the ongoing conflict. Fans and followers watched closely, piecing together clues and speculating wildly about the truth. Yet, beneath the public spectacle lies a deeper story of emotions, alliances, and unspoken truths that only those involved can fully grasp. For Martell, the emotional toll has been profound. Friends describe a mix of anger, confusion, and deep hurt. Sleepless nights spent questioning who he could truly trust. The betrayal wasn't just about one relationship, it was the crumbling of an entire support system he once relied on. And yet, despite the pain, Martell has tried to maintain his composure publicly, careful with his words in a world that is quick to judge and eager for drama. Melody faces her own challenges. Some see her as a manipulator. Others believe she's caught in an impossible situation, struggling to balance the pressures from all sides. Meanwhile, Hill Harper's attempt to mediate has brought both support and criticism. Testing his own relationships and public image, attempts at resolution have been quietly made. But the scars from secrecy and broken trust run deep. This story is about much more than jealousy or rivalry. It is a lesson in communication, boundaries, and the fragility of trust in a world where every move is watched and judged. In the end, Martell's story is a reminder that even the strongest loyalty can be tested, and the path forward requires honesty, empathy, and courage. As this drama continues to unfold, one thing is clear: nothing stays hidden forever, and how we handle the truth defines who we truly are. To truly grasp why Martell's anger runs so deep, it helps to understand the people involved. Martell first captured the public's attention through his reality TV appearances, where his straightforward honesty and fierce loyalty quickly made him a fan favorite. But behind the scenes, Martell's life was about more than the cameras. He cultivated close, trusting relationships with a tight circle of friends, people he relied on and considered family. One of the key figures in this circle is Melody. She is known for her charm and complexity, a woman who often finds herself caught in the middle of personal and social drama. Melody's relationships have never been simple, and her ties with Martell have seen their share of ups and downs. Yet, she remained a central figure in his life, someone who played a significant role in the group's dynamics. For quite some time, Melody's interactions with Martell and another key player, Hill Harper, were largely private, staying below the radar. Hill Harper, an accomplished actor and author, commands respect not only for his craft but also for his thoughtful and articulate voice on social issues. He's a figure admired for his intellect and calm presence. Until recently, few knew about the nature of Hill's connection to Melody. It was a relationship that, though discreet, carried weight and significance. The revelation of their link came as a shock to Martell and those close to him, shaking the foundation of trust within the group. What made this discovery so painful wasn't just the connection itself, it was that Martell had been kept in the dark. The secrecy surrounding Melody's relationship with Hill Harper felt like a deep betrayal, especially for someone like Martell who values transparency above all else. The hidden nature of their bond sparked questions and doubts, throwing long friendships into turmoil and leaving everyone involved questioning where loyalties truly lay. This was not a simple story of friendship or professional acquaintanceship. It was a complex web of emotions and secrets, the kind of revelation that can change everything, especially when it involves people you care about and trust deeply. Understanding these players and their history helps explain why Martell's reaction was so intense and why this drama is far from over. The tension started when whispers began about Melody's link to Hill Harper, not just as casual friends, but something more meaningful. For Martell, who has always prized honesty and loyalty, this felt like a deep betrayal. Friends say his reaction has less to do with jealousy and more to do with broken trust and unanswered questions. How did they connect? Why was it kept secret? And why was he left in the dark? But here's the part that few know: the link between Melody and Hill Harper is not the whole story. there is a deeper layer, filled with motives and hidden connections, that makes this even more complicated. Next, we will uncover the private conversations and events that set off Martell's explosive reaction. You will not want to miss the inside story that proves this is far from a simple misunderstanding. What looked calm on the surface between Martell, Melody, and Hill Harper quickly cracked once hidden talks and secret ties started to come to light. What many assumed was harmless interaction between Melody and Hill Harper turned into something far deeper, and it is exactly what sparked Martell Holt's anger. According to insiders, Melody and Hill Harper had been in private contact long before Martell had any clue. These were not just casual chats, they were intense, emotional exchanges that hinted at a bond much stronger than anyone expected. There were late-night calls, quiet meets, and moments of personal support that most people around them never noticed. For Martell, finding out felt like a heavy blow. Friends say he did not learn this from Melody, but from whispers making their way through their social circle. The fact that she never told him directly felt like a betrayal, especially because Martell is known for valuing loyalty and honesty above all else. It was the secrecy that cut the deepest. Martell's anger was not only about the connection itself, but about the trust he believed had been broken. Those close to him recall how he confronted Melody, demanding answers, but when her replies seemed unclear or evasive, his frustration only grew. The tension soon spilled into the wider group, splitting opinions. Some sided with Martell, believing transparency is most important. Others felt Melody had the right to keep certain parts of her life private. The atmosphere turned tense, with whispered conversations, cold interactions, and pointed posts on social media. Things got even more complicated when Hill Harper learned how much his link to Melody was stirring trouble. He quietly tried to step in and smooth things over, but instead, Martell saw it as interference, which only made the situation worse. The media soon caught wind of the drama, spreading rumors and fueling speculation. Headlines suggested scandal, and the pressure on everyone grew. For Martell, having the matter play out publicly made the betrayal sting even more. But here is where it takes a turn. The real reason for Martell's outrage might not just be Melody's connection to Hill Harper. Sources reveal a twist. Melody's link to Hill Harper was part of a bigger hidden alliance that also involved another powerful figure in their circle. This was not just friendship. It was a planned partnership built on shared goals, exchanged information, and personal ties that only a few knew about. When Martell learned about this, it shook him to the core. The man who always stood for loyalty suddenly realized he had been caught in a web of secrecy. This alliance was not only emotional, it was strategic, influencing career moves, personal relationships, and even the balance of power in their social circle. Some insiders say this partnership even led to decisions that left Martell feeling left out or undermined. He discovered pieces of the truth, little by little, through overheard comments, vague messages, and changes in the way friends acted toward him. It also raised a bigger question. Was Melody simply caught in the middle, or was she making calculated moves to strengthen her own position? That uncertainty made the situation even more intense. For Martell, this was no longer about simple friendships or feelings. It was about trust, loyalty, and a battle for influence. This was about trust, power, and control. The fallout from Martell's discovery shook the very core of his relationships and reputation. But it did not stop there. What began in private soon spilled onto social media, where cryptic messages and subtle digs made the conflict impossible to hide. Fans became eager detectives, connecting clues and speculating about what was really going on. Still, beneath all the online chatter, the real truth stayed hidden, locked within a tangled web of emotions, alliances, and unspoken truths that only the people involved could fully understand. What followed was an intense period that changed each of them in different ways. The shocking details about the secret alliance and Melody's deeper ties to Hill Harper hit Martell especially hard. For a man who prizes loyalty above all else, being blindsided by people he trusted was devastating. Insiders say Martell's emotions were a spectrum of anger, confusion, and deep hurt. Friends describe sleepless nights where he replayed events in his mind, trying to understand how the people closest to him could leave him feeling so isolated. It was not just about a personal betrayal, it was about watching his support system crumble. In public, Martell tried to stay composed, knowing every statement would be picked apart and could inflame tensions further. Social media became his outlet, where he posted vague but pointed messages to let out frustration without revealing too much. Fans dissected every word, turning his pain into a public spectacle. Melody, meanwhile, was caught in her own emotional struggle. To some, she looked like a master manipulator. To others, she was simply a woman trapped between two powerful men, trying to navigate impossible pressures. Sources say she has felt guilt and the heavy weight of the situation, even as she fights to tell her side of the story and keep control of her life. Hill Harper's role was just as complicated. Known for his calm, thoughtful nature, he tried to step in as a peacemaker, but not everyone welcomed his efforts. Some saw him as interfering. Others believed he was genuinely trying to ease the tension. Either way, the pressure of being drawn into such a personal feud tested both his relationships and his public image. There have been quiet efforts to repair the damage, private talks and mediation sessions meant to clear the air and set boundaries. But deep scars remain. The hurt from secrecy and broken trust is not easily healed. This was never only about jealousy or rivalry. It was about boundaries crossed, communication lost, and the struggle to hold on to real, honest connections in a world where every move is watched, judged, and shared. Here is the thing: despite all the chaos, there is still room for growth and healing. How each person chooses to move forward could completely reshape their relationships and personal journeys. This next chapter is about more than just the drama. It is about what the future could hold for Martell, Melody, and Hill Harper, and the lessons we can all take from their tangled story. The explosive tension between them is not just another headline. It is a clear reminder that trust and loyalty are the foundation of any strong relationship. When those foundations crack under secrecy and hidden alliances, the fallout can be both painfully personal and publicly messy. Martell's anger over Melody's link to Hill Harper is not simply about jealousy, it is about trust breaking down and communication falling apart, leaving him questioning others and himself. It shows why honesty matters so much, especially when emotions, friendships, and reputations are at stake. Melody's part in this saga is complicated. She has been trying to balance her personal freedom with the responsibilities that come from being in a close circle. Her connection to Hill Harper, hidden and layered, shows how easily relationships can be misunderstood, sparking drama that might have been avoided if conversations had been clearer from the start. Hill Harper's presence adds yet another layer. Even with the best intentions, stepping in can sometimes make things more complicated. His attempts to mediate highlight how difficult it is to juggle multiple loyalties when tensions are high. For those watching from the outside, there are important lessons here about the damage secrecy can cause, the value of openness, and the emotional weight of broken trust. In a world where social media magnifies every move, it is a reminder to look deeper before rushing to judge. So, what happens now? The road to healing will not be easy, but honesty and empathy could make it possible. Time will tell whether these relationships can recover. One thing, however, is certain: the truth always finds its way to the surface, and it is our reaction to it that defines who we are. Now it is your turn. What do you think of Martell's reaction? Was his fury justified, or was there more to the story? How important is transparency in your own relationships? Share your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear your perspective. If you found this deep dive valuable, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with others who follow celebrity drama closely. And remember, in the world of public figures, there is always more to the story than meets the eye.